Hey guys, welcome to the Singapore Grand Prix weekend on F1 22. Are you ready for 61 laps on intermediate tyres that could be very, very dramatic indeed? We might have multiple safety cars. I don't actually know if the whole 2-hour window to do a Grand Prix is actually a thing in-game, but this might actually take me in real life more than 2 hours to complete the Grand Prix. I don't think that ruling is in the game, but it should be if it's a rule in real life. But we'll wait and see what happens. It's a dry quali though and dry practice, so to set up the car for the race is actually going to be pretty tricky. We are now, thanks to our developments leading up to this Grand Prix, the second best car on track, which has done nothing really than set me up for failure, I don't think. But we'll wait and see what happens. I've got 900 resource points. I can't do anything else with them at present, but we can post-practice. And we'll try our best to achieve as many resource points as possible. And hopefully have a potential podium challenging Grand Prix. But I'm not great in the wet. Let's wait and see what happens. I do like Singapore. It's a very fun circuit. But whether it's a fun circuit I could be quick at, we shall wait and see. As ever, drop the video a like if you're enjoying this save, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the rest of this second season or the Football Manager stuff that is coming just around the corner. But for now, I'm going to concentrate on practice, and I'll be back with you on YouTube in a moment. I'm going to do a 38 one, but I can't do a 37 one. Thanks for following, Big Watson. Welcome to the channel, mate. We'll see how we qualify, and based on qualifying performance, we'll decide what to do with the difficulty. But apparently I didn't pass my challenges last year on... Oh, Jensen topped the time sheets. I didn't pass my practice programs last year at Singapore, and I've not passed my practice programs this year at Singapore either. So I'm not in a great position right now, but I'm a bit confused as to where I'm losing all of the time. We should be able to get everything done over the course of the next 2 sessions with regards to resource points. So I'm not worried about not being able to get this done. But from here on out, from quali and then a wet race, I might need to drop the difficulty a couple of notches to not just be running at the back, which feels like an odd thing to say given the supposed pace in the car. And with seconds to go, can we get that one done? We can, and that is everything done in P2, which is good because it's going to bloody rain in Q3, so I'm not in P3, sorry, so I'm not going to get that. It's a dry quali though, so we'll go to a dry quali. I'll just quickly go to practice and come out of this third one so that we can then get our resource points before we get to the qualifying session. So we will quick practice, and then I've got nothing to do, so I'll back out. So we'll find out how many resource points we get. It should be again about, yeah, 1,600 because I maxed out mine and Jensen maxed out his. And I'm not quite level 16 as a driver, but that's not to worry. So it was about 1,900 for the front downforce, wasn't it? With the aero. I don't know if there was anywhere else I could really upgrade without, other than brakes, without updating my, or paying to update my factory, was there? The brake width is done there. I could do 1,200 for that. It would leave me just under 1,600. I can't do anything else powertrain wise. That's the only thing I can do there. Yeah, it's 1,900 for that. Rear is 1,316, so I'll do that, and then I'll do the brakes as well. Both will be done post Japan, and we'll see what happens there. What happens in quali is not really relevant to what happens in the race because the race is in the wet, but I'm running a lot of downforce anyway, so it shouldn't really matter. Our qualifying performance will dictate what we do with the difficulty for the race. I could qualify into Q3. I might qualify at the back. Let's go and find out. Well, we improved to go P6 in Q1, but there's definitely a couple of tenths on the table in the final sector. But it's probably the best first and second sectors that I'd put in all weekend so far. I'm definitely not going to be able to get near the 37.1, but I might be able to get a 37.3 perhaps. Let's see what happens in Q2. That was P3. P3 in Q2. I don't know whether I need to change the difficulty or not at the moment. I'm slightly concerned that in the race they'll be a lot faster than me, but that was a 37.2 there. George did a 37 flat. That was a 136. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! A 136.5 pole in Singapore. Where has that come from? I was complaining that they found an extra half second. I just found 7/10. Pole! Okay, difficulty stays on 90, I think. Whoa! Pole! My first of my career. Sí! Vamos! Bring on 2 hours in the rain at Singapore. Where did that come from? I don't think I could do that consistently, though. That's the only thing. Take that, Daniel. Yeah, my issue is doing that every lap, which evidently I can't do because I haven't done it to this point all weekend. And in the rain, I don't know whether they'll be slightly too quick for me. But I tell you what, after qualifying pole, I'll give it a go on 90 difficulty. It might just be pain, but after getting pole, I can't really be like, I think I need to lower the difficulty. Can I really? To the race. So in the rain, I wonder if anyone else has taken any penalties. We kind of know who's going to be first, though. By 0.02 of a second, P1 for the cheese. I've not done that before this season, or this save. Bottas taking a penalty is intriguing. A penalty and he only drops to 6th. Russell takes a penalty and he's down to 10th. I'm really apprehensive about this race now, because if the difficulty setting is wrong, then it's the longest race of my entire season, and it's wet, and it might be at the wrong difficulty, but I can't. I've got to try at 90. Latifi in 20th. Tsunoda, and then my teammate Jenson Button starts dead fucking last. So everyone is in a Chesnoid Racing sandwich. It reckons a 2-stop rather than a 3-stop. I might be forced into a 3-stop if my tyres don't last, but 30 laps and 31 laps, I reckon. And it still thinks that I need an extra 8 laps worth of fuel. In the rain? Do I need an extra 8 laps worth of fuel in the rain? Surely not. God, I mean, I'll put 7.5 laps worth of extra fuel in. I had 3 laps of extra fuel in Italy. 3 laps. And I don't know whether it's factoring in my fuel consumption from a dry practice into this, or whether it's considering the rain. So I'll go 6.5. But 6.5 laps of extra fuel still feels excessive in Singapore. I don't think it's factoring in the rain at all. But is it risky from pole to put in less fuel? Probably. I'll go 4.5 laps worth of extra fuel, and we will risk it for the biscuit. Well then, from pole position in the rain, the Singapore Grand Prix. Oh, I slightly overshot it. Slightly overshot it. Oh, the grid is reforming behind me. Hopefully my tyres are warm enough and we have enough grip off the line. Although I have no idea what's going to happen here. My first pole position on F1 22. I just came into the pit box a little bit too quick, really, didn't I? Jenson Button takes his place at the back as I'm at the front. And we don't need those lights popping up, do we? Lights out and away we go, and it feels like a relatively decent start as well, to be honest. Bouncing over the curb a little bit. But leading away from pole, and that was a really, arguably, one of my best starts. But now we find out what the pace in the car is really like. Over the course of the next few laps. Hey look, a purple sector 1. It's not that wet really. There isn't really any puddles anyway. You can still see that there's dry sections, but it's just going to drizzle like this for the whole Grand Prix. So it's not going to be as wet as it potentially could be. As ever with a street track, especially one as tight as this in places. Track position is king, and there is no better track position than P1. With no DRS, that's going to help me in stages. But I am definitely holding Lewis Hamilton up. That is without doubt. I'm just going to try and build as big a gap as I can to everybody else before we get to the first round of pit stops, so as I don't get undercut by about 7 cars. Nobody in the pits after lap 1 though. An entirely clean start to the race from the whole field. Judging by the fact that my tyres were like 4% worn though from 1 lap.
Use your overtake button more. It's time to utilise some of this energy. Come on.
Pretty sure I'm going to have to 3-stop for tyre wear with these inters. Especially if we're going to have to be using my battery a lot and spinning up the rears. I'm really not pulling away from Lewis. And I'm not really pulling away from the 2 McLarens either, which is kind of the main thing that I want to do, is pull away from the rest of the field. At the minute, I am not able to do that. The gap to those McLarens is staying pretty stable at the minute where it is. Which means I'm not really going to open up much of a gap to do my pit stop. 6% wear. I'm getting 3% wear on my rears per lap. The other drivers definitely have at least another half second a lap in the tank, doing 154s a lap. I'm probably going to stay at that pace or around it, obviously with wearing tyres, etc., for the whole race. It is definitely going to take more than 2 hours to do this Grand Prix. For the time being, I have to kind of be happy enough with pace, I guess. When everyone else gets set free from behind me, it's going to be a case of how many... It's not a case of if I'm going to get undercut, it's a case of how many are going to undercut me. With the field spread as minimal as it is at the minute, and as minimal as it will stay whilst I'm backing everybody up, I have a feeling after our pit stop we'll come out like 12th or something. Okay, there was a yellow flag for something. It's an AlphaTauri. It's Yuki Tsunoda out of the Grand Prix. Now, there isn't a safety car, so you imagine it's just because he's crashed. Or his engine's gone. Yuki's engine's gone. That's what it is. It's raining a lot harder. It's raining a lot harder on Yuki's screen than it is on mine. At present, there's not really much to bring to YouTube because I've not lost any positions, not gained any positions. We've just been doing a wet time trial, really. I think everyone behind is just biding their time for when the pit stops come, and they'll all just storm past me with an undercut. I'll know I'm making some sort of progress when it says I'm not going to come out dead last when I pit. That's when I think, okay, I've got some pace compared to some other drivers. The gaps behind me have seemingly just stayed the same since the Grand Prix began. Which says to me that my pole lap might have been a bit of a fluke, because there is seemingly a train behind me all the way back to that Ferrari and the Red Bull. That's how many cars I'm holding up at the minute. Which is everybody all the way down to 13th and 14th. Carlos Sainz and Daniel Ricciardo. Not many overtakes to this point. Charles Leclerc has taken Lando for 3rd. Bottas is up a place to 6th. As is Ocon because Gasly's dropped to. Fernando and Verstappen have swapped places. George is where he started. Kevin and Seb have swapped places. Sainz and Ricciardo, where everybody from there down is where they started, other than Latifi, who's actually made up 3, and then everyone else is down 1. Porsche 17 to 18, Stroll 18 to 19, Schumacher 19 to 20, And Jenson Button is only up to 21 because, you know, Yuki Tsunoda retired. So at the minute, it is very much as you were. Not sure how much of this the YouTube video is going to get to see at the moment. But I'll try and add in as much as I can to give you an idea of what's happening in the race. If they can't get past, then they can't get past. So it's if they can, when my tyres really fall off a cliff, if that makes me super vulnerable, then they will start to try and get past. But at the minute, Lewis is just continually about half a second behind. Just, I think more so than anything, biding his time, waiting for me to pit. So if these tyres are to go to lap 30, they're going to be nearly 60% worn by the time I get there. If not, perhaps more so. 60% worn inters. I mean, 60% worn slicks isn't fun, let alone 60% worn inters. It's going to be absolutely fine on fuel. It's mad, though, how fuel is still coming down, even in the wet. My fuel efficiency is as fully developed as it could be as well, I think. We are currently on pace to do the Grand Prix under the 2-hour window.
There's a new strategy available on the MFD.
What is the strategy available? It's probably going to be pitting earlier because of tyre wear, I imagine.
Confirmed.
2 laps. I was thinking about pitting on 29 anyway. I was too busy looking at everything, but I'm quite happy to pit on 28. But I'm going to have to do 28 laps on a set and then 33 laps on a set. This is going to be really difficult. No retirements thus far for anyone crashing, or no pit stops for damage. Just Yuki's engine letting go, and that's it so far after nearly 16 full laps and more than half an hour's worth of racing around a tight and twisty street circuit. Cars in that back group are starting to see off the Haas as well. There is a slow moving Haas. We'll come out 15th now when I pit. We've opened up enough of a gap to a handful of drivers that we will come out 15th when we pit. Ocon just beat my fastest lap by 3 milliseconds. So it's really tight right now for pace. But I still think everyone else is going to go significantly faster the moment I pit. Or the moment they pit and have free air. It's just a case of how significantly faster is significantly faster going to be as to how many positions we lose. But if I can undercut and then put in a couple of quickish lap times on fresh tyres by pitting early, then maybe I might be able to keep my lead. But I would have to put in some really quick lap times, I think. We might see some two-stoppers stopping soon. There might be some two-stoppers stopping in the next couple of laps or so. Jenson is past one of the Haas drivers now. So I'll just put in my fastest and the fastest lap of the race, so 1:53.8. That was the fastest lap of the race by about 3 or 4 tenths. And I haven't pulled away from those behind at all. So they definitely have at least half a second per lap in reserve, if not considerably more. So I am going to have to try and undercut everyone behind me and then use this tactic of just being quick enough in the right areas to keep everyone behind me till the end of the race, and we might stand a chance of a podium still. But it's unlikely at this stage. I would wager that it is unlikely at this stage that we finish any higher than 6th or 7th. I think at present, if I pit now, I'd come out behind Sebastian Vettel. I think I come out between that Aston Martin and the Williams on the left-hand side. Is that where I'd come out, or would I be behind? Yeah, I'd be between the Aston Martin and the Williams. That's how little my pace is, how uncompetitive my pace is. In 23 laps of racing, I haven't pulled away a pit stop from P1 on 14 other drivers. That's why I'm not sure if I'm going to get even a half decent point scoring finish. Because when the pit stops do happen, they'll all just be so fast. I have to hope that I can be as fast on my new Inters as they are on their worn ones when I undercut. I don't think they'll come in on 28. I think they've been able to save fuel and tyres so much so behind me that they'll go to like 32. I think my strategy has only changed because of my high tyre wear, not because of anything that is happening elsewhere. If I can get that to say 14th and I can come out definitively ahead of Alex Albon and in that free air, then I'll be happier.
2 laps until the pit window opens.
53.6, fastest lap of the race so far. Pit stop in 2 laps time, although technically it's 3 laps time, so I'll do all of lap 26, all of lap 27, and almost all of lap 28. Okay, that now says 14th, so I will come out ahead of Alex Albon when I pit, which is kind of the window that I could best hope for, really. To come out in front of Alex Albon and have free air to just pump laps in. It would be terrible, or it would be even worse if I pit and tried the undercut for time and then got stuck behind someone and couldn't actually put in my best possible lap time. So making it out ahead of Alex Albon is going to be critical to our race finish.
No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
Now we find out just how fast the other AI are. I want to come out ahead of Alex Albon and in 14th place here if I can. Come on, please. Good stop, lads. Well done. 2.3 second stop is exactly what we needed there. Oh, I've come out behind Albon. That's fine, as long as I can just pump in some sort of lap time. Tyres are basically up to temperature already, which is half the battle. It's the sign we wanted to see at least, the purple middle sector. Find out momentarily just how much faster Lewis Hamilton is now going without me in front of him. And nobody's setting a faster lap time. So unless Lewis made a mistake, we are gaining some time, or at least maintaining. Anyway, maybe next lap. Maybe next lap.
The pace is strong, but be aware these tyres need to go the distance.
Yeah, now I'm getting held up. Now I'm losing time. I need to see off Albon.
Right, we need to get past here. Use overtake. Use overtake.
It's a late lunge, but I needed to do it. Sorry, Alex. That was, strictly speaking, an illegal overtake, but I've got a race win on the line. If I can get away with it, I'm going to try and get away with it. I just couldn't afford to lose any more time. Some are in the pits. Some are in the pits. Now so we find out. Has our undercut worked? There they are. The answer is yes. Our undercut has worked. And now they are going to get stuck behind Albon as well. Lads, a win is on the cards. Oh, God. A win is on the cards. provided my tyres don't get so dead at the end that I'm just a sitting duck, and also provided that there's no safety car to close that gap. Not that it matters, because as soon as Alex Albon pits, they're back up to the back of me anyway. A win's on the cards though, and if Alexander Albon wants to extend that stint by another couple of laps, he's more than welcome to, but he won't. He'll pit this lap because his teammate pit the lap before. Sainz pit, Ricciardo pit. This is everyone pitting basically. This is where we retake the lead. Albon did pit, so Hamilton is going to be closing that gap again. I am very surprised that Lewis didn't set a purple lap. Very surprised that Lewis didn't set a purple lap when I pit and he was then running. Fastest lap of the race, a 53 flat. Lewis Hamilton does a 52.9. And he is effectively... Alonso does a 52.8. They are effectively running... Lewis is effectively running in free air right now. As is Fernando. Maybe not free air, but significantly less dirty air than they were previously. So perhaps they have a tenth or two on me over the course of a full lap. But we are, I think, obviously with heavy battery usage, currently running about as fast as the other fastest drivers-ish. 52.2. Jeez, there's a lap.
Teammate behind is 44.6 seconds.
Okay, so as the fuel burns off, we are getting faster. Although again, heavily battery orientated that lap. Temperatures are fine though. And so far, maintaining gaps behind us, but I had to put in a fastest lap by 0.8 from my previous best to do that. My tyres are going to be so much more worn than everyone else's at the end of the race. That gap behind will close. There's no way I finish this race with a gap of over a second. Not a chance to behind. Lewis is closing though. It's 1.6 now. He's pulling away from Leclerc, however. It's not that everybody's coming, it's just that Lewis is coming. Leclerc is still about 2.9 behind. But on paper, the Mercedes is the one car that supposedly is faster than ours, so it's not too much of a surprise.
Battery charge is high. Let's use that overtake.
I am literally using it right now, mate. Lewis is back within half a second. This is where the tyres come into it again. His tyres are fresher than mine and wearing at a slower rate than mine as well. From now on until the end of the Grand Prix, I am vulnerable. I think Lewis keeps making the occasional mistake, which is really helping at this stage. 1.5 seconds back to Lewis now with 3 laps to go. It's kind of allowing us... That's a purple sector 1, hello. It's kind of allowing us the space to try and negotiate ourselves around this back marker Haas and not run the risk of losing position with some sort of mix-up. It'll be the one and only car that we lap, and that's if I can catch that Haas in the next 2.5 laps, which we should do, but it's certainly not a guarantee. The fact we put in a purple sector 1 makes me slightly concerned that actually I might not keep my fastest lap till the end of the race. If other drivers might be able to go slightly faster themselves. I can't catch this Haas, by the way. I am trying. That was not even a personal best, just a straight up red.
Okay, that's us with 5 laps of fuel remaining. 5 laps of fuel left.
Yeah, see, when it comes to fuel, we overfilled again by almost 3 full laps. It is over-exaggerating or over-anticipating how much fuel I'm actually going to need to complete a race. We had about 2 laps worth of extra fuel at Monza, and we're going to end with about 3 laps of extra fuel here in Singapore. So we are carrying extra weight around the track. But you'll notice that throughout the course of this whole lap, that gap behind is continuing to grow again. It's back up to 2 seconds now. We are either Lewis is making mistakes, or the race has come to us right at the end when we needed it, and we're getting a little bit of space. Blue flags for Zhou Guanyu at the minute, but he's not really paying any attention to them right now. We're on our penultimate lap here after nearly 2 hours worth of racing constantly. If you factor in pauses for toilet breaks and flashbacks and just general pauses to talk to chat or check the race director, we've definitely been going for more than 2 hours since we just started the Grand Prix. Come on, Zhou. Hopefully it'll let me pass down the straight. Don't do it over the bloody Anderson Bridge, will you? Come on, blue flags, pal. Get out the bloody way. The gap to Lewis has come back down to 1.7 now. Now 1.6. So he must have just been, as I go deep, making mistakes. But Zhou Guanyu is moving out of the way. Thank you, Zhou. Hopefully Lewis and co will get caught behind him for an extra couple of corners, which will allow me the opportunity to get away a little bit around this third sector. We are nearly at the end of the race, nearly onto our final lap. We have led from start to finish. We've had the net lead from start to finish, obviously not in front throughout the course of the pit stops, but we have been net first for the whole Grand Prix. We haven't had the race pace, really, I don't think. Had Lewis and co been in front of us, they probably would have pulled away. But that's why it was so important to bang out that pole lap in Q3. I still don't know where that 1 lap came from, but to be able to go from doing early 137s at best, 137.2 was my best lap up until I whacked in a 36.5, 7 tenths faster than anything I'd done before with my final run in Q3. Out of absolutely nowhere, we found a pole sitting time, and thanks to that, and then a decent getaway from the off, we have been able to hold on to this lead, manage it for the whole Grand Prix as we celebrate a Chesnoid's 41st month subscribed to the channel. And we say thank you to West and Raza for following as well. We're going to bring home our, I think, 4th podium of our career, and second only in 39 Grand Prix victory. In Canada, we were very, very lucky to get the result we did, with safety cars, with weather, etc. We qualified P2, to be fair, in Montreal, but again, that was out of the ordinary. And here we've been able to dictate the pace from the front, and we're going to see it through. We come through the third and final sector for the 61st and final time. We will take the checkered flag and win the Singapore Grand Prix. Those fireworks are for me. We did that. We earned that. P1. P1. Driver of the day. Full house. Pole. Fastest lap. Victory. Driver of the day. Full Jeffin housemate. My teammate finished P20, I think. I don't know how Jensen screwed up quite so much. I'm going to need my trophy. I'm going to need my trophy. Yee! And a shaky bottle as well by the time we get there. Celebrations with the team are the Chesnoid Racing. If you haven't dropped this video a like, Please do. Come and follow me on Twitch as well and watch these live. My thumb is dying. I can't remember what my podium celebration is. Oh, it's the heel click. Aye! First place. Ready? Yeah! For just the second time ever in our career. And it's shaky ball time! Celebrate with that champagne! Or just empty bottle of water. Let's go! Hey! That's so cringe when I do that, isn't it? I do apologise. Let me put that back on the shelf. Judging by the square that was on the shelf, I think I need to dust back there. Oh, dearie me. A 152.283 was the fastest lap of the race. The next fastest lap to that was Lewis Hamilton with a 152.6. Judging by that, I think there. How fast did Jensen go? 53.9. So, in the driver's standings, I stay 10th because I'm a long way behind Daniel Ricciardo. Still 25 points. In the constructors, we're still 99 points behind McLaren. So we're not going to be moving anywhere in either championship anytime soon. But for personal bragging rights, we're loving that. Tick all the way down. Thank you very much. Which brings us back into contention with Daniel Ricciardo for that rivalry. Surely I'll go up a level here. Indeed we do. And the team get a massive boost. That's huge for one single Grand Prix. I probably could have renegotiated my sponsors to some that pay a little bit more with some slightly more difficult objectives, but I didn't really see the point at this stage. I'm going to do second driver training. What I'd like to do is boost the morale in my departments. Oh, it's now normal. It was low everywhere, but I'm not going to get the chance to, so I'll just spend one day doing that and one day doing that, and we'll head towards the Japanese Grand Prix. I've got 512 resource points. I've got 7.8 million in the bank. I could spend some money somewhere else, but it's probably going to cost me a lot. 6 million. 6 million to redo the resource points and get that fully up to spec 2. That's outrageous. 6 million. That's outrageous, mate. That's so much. So I think I'll just save an advanced time. Hoi, hoi, hoi. Our new parts. Good. We'll skip that. Can't be bothered. So new parts are on. And we are now officially, definitely, second fastest team. And actually, as we head to Japan, it looks like we're level on performance with Mercedes. But Japan is not a strong circuit for me. If we have a look at last season, I finished P18 in Japan after a P11 in Singapore, a P18 in Japan, where I am absolutely off the pace. I can't remember what the weather was like. I think it was dry for the majority of it, but I am nowhere near as fast as I need to be in Japan. But I don't want any more wet. Just give me a dry race weekend, please. Oh, it might be damp in quali. It will be very damp in quali. Dry to start, but it will rain throughout Q2 and 3. But it will be a dry race. And that's all we care about. A dry race. Good. We are officially the joint fastest car on track now. From at the beginning of the season, the worst car to first. Last to first challenge completed. Now I need to start putting in race wins more often than not. Or certainly podium performances. We've had 2 race wins and a second place so far this season. And last year, oh, it was only my third. It's only my third podium. I thought it was my 4th. It's only my 3rd podium. 2 wins and a second place in Belgium. I thought I had a 3rd place somewhere. I did not. We'll take it. We'll absolutely Jeffin take it. Thank you very much for watching, those of you on YouTube. Really appreciate your support. Thank you very much for showing consistent support for this save. Hopefully you'll do the same for the My Player when it arrives and the Football Manager stuff when it comes too. But for now, that's all for this Formula 1 video. We play a lot of games, don't we? I'll see you next time.